Hey, Jordan. Welcome to the stream. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, yesterday I didn't get to stream nearly as much as I had intended to, so we're just kind of making up for that today. um, and I had some of the other streamers had asked about some of my techniques for prep, and so I figured I would share that. And I meant to do more yesterday, but we got through creating a campaign on Roll20 as well as going through Charactermancer. So, and setting up some APIs and some game settings. So I appreciate you stopping by. Alright, so like I said, yesterday we got through making a character, we got through doing the setting up the APIs, setting up the actual game, and like I did also say yesterday, we are using the Essentials kit for a option to be able to use to set these things up. This is a great module if you have brand new players or if you are a first-time DM. Yeah, I love this campaign too. I have run it so many times, my wife is sick of hearing me run it. So, yeah, I love it though. Okay, so let's see here. I need to move some screens around real quick. Get this one on to where my main desktop is. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. Yeah, so Jordan, are you running any games on using Roll20? Because I've been... Hey! Yes, Evil Andy, more tips. Yes, exactly. I'm glad that you came by. Yeah, I didn't get as far as I wanted to yesterday, so we're gonna get some more tips in today. Alright. Oh, nice! Ghost of Saltmarsh. I have not run that. Hey, Evil Andy, my goal here is to get you to suck just a little bit less by the end of these, so hopefully we can get that for you. Oh, I forgot to open my... Okay, there we go. I forgot to open my Google Docs so I can get the other thing that I need. One of the things that I did was I set up a Google Doc with my macros that I use, so that I just have to bring in copy paste is my friend, right? Okay. Alright. So, yeah, Jordan, I haven't run Ghost of Saltmarsh. That and I'm just not a scary like mental, trauma DM. I'd much rather give my players, puzzles or, just have a good time than necessarily do the dark and scary stuff. So I actually have another DM that runs games on my Discord channel, and I told him from the get-go, you get all the scary stuff. So he is currently running 2 tables of Rime of the Frost Maiden, because I told him he gets to do that one, Barovia, and Ghost of Saltmarsh if he wants. So, I mean, he's welcome to run other things, but when it comes to the scary ones, he gets to do those. Oh, yeah. You know what? I have 2 tables that have come really close to TPKs in the last 2 or 3 sessions. My Tyranny of Dragons game that I run on Friday nights and my Storm King's Thunder game that I run on Tuesdays. In the last couple weeks, they've both been very close to TPKs. And it's really funny because, for the most part, I'm a very generous DM, and you know, my goal is not to kill you. That is very much not my my philosophy at all. If anything, I want you to survive, and so that means, you know, maybe some nerfing in the first couple of, you know, couple of levels and stuff. But when it comes to tier 2 to tier 3, you know, if you're going up against these guys, they're meant to be there for a reason, and you're meant to either survive or perish. So yeah, it's not nerfed, but they they did well. There was some pretty smart thinking on a couple of players' parts, and they managed to all walk away with their characters. So we'll see what happens tonight and see if they keep making it up. As our Friday table is starting the second half of the Tyranny of Dragons campaign, they are going into the first session out of the Rise of Tiamat book, so should be interesting. Alright, so getting to this, we went over Charactermancer yesterday, we went over some character sheet stuff, we went over setting up game, putting the APIs available in there, putting putting the game settings, that's what it was. I lost my words there for a minute. So let's go back to that character sheet. It's my Learn to Make a character sheet. So bio and info is blank. If you have a character who is rolling out of D&D Beyond, what I suggest is having them put the link to their character sheet in the bio and info page. That way, if you need to look at it, it is right there. Either you put it in or they put it in, you know, depending on what. But otherwise, we have our character here, character sheet here. We've got, you know, his stats over here, his saving throws, the skill sets, the weapon attacks or spell attacks, all of the items that they have, tool proficiencies, weapons, armor, language proficiencies are over here. Features and traits on this side, which all you have to do is click on the name and it will bring down the description. If you do the thought bubble, it will put it into chat. And then the cogwheel is if you need to change something. If you push the plus button here, you can actually put in your own traits, either racial, class, feat, background, or other. So if there is something that maybe you have that is not in the compendium that you happen to own on Roll20, you can put it in here and type it, you know, type it all out or copy paste from other places, or whatever you need. If you need to remove one of them, just click on the little lock and it will bring that up. You can also rearrange them if you have a player that keeps forgetting about, you know, one of their things and it happens to be down on the bottom. Thanks, Jordan. Have a great night. You can move it to be on the top, because most of the time character sheets that are open are going to be open towards this top part. So it might be possible for them to remember a thing if you put it up here towards the top. Okay. Same thing works with the spells. You can rearrange them by clicking on the little lock, and you can drag them around if you want to put them in a specific order. Okay. So, oops, I meant to leave that open. If it is time to make a token for your character. If you hit the edit button, you can put some artwork in either from your art library here on Roll20, or you can drag stuff in. Let's go ahead and let's grab an Essentials Kit artwork here, token. He is a half orc. Okay. So, let's see. Let's go Player's Handbook. I believe there's a token for a half orc in here. There is. Let's do this guy. So if you drag that in from your compendium, or from your art library, it will put it right there, and that is when, on bio and info, it will show you the picture. Now, here's the thing. If you have artwork that you want to have on your character that happens to be, I know the Essentials Kit has it for a reason, a full picture instead of just the token. So, like here they have the handout artwork and the token artwork. If you want this handout artwork to be the picture that you see on bio and info, what you can do is you can put that picture in here, and then the other picture you just bring it onto the screen and it can become a token. Let's see, I don't believe this has the grid on. Let's check. It does not. Let's put the grid on here just for a second. Whenever you drag something on from your art library, it will make it be a square, unless you have it set to be different. So let's see here. We have this guy saved. We've got his picture there. And there is times where if your players have artwork that they specifically want to have, they have access when they click the edit button. They have access to this artwork, or the avatar, the name, and the bio and info stuff. They, as a player, have that. You as a DM are the only ones that can make actual tokens out of the artwork, though. So if your player puts this picture into their avatar, and you don't happen to have the artwork, it is really easy to make a token out of that avatar. All you have to do is drag their character sheet onto the screen, and it will bring the token, and it will make it be a 5-foot square. So then all you have to do to set up this token is click on the cogwheel, and it should say that it represents the person that you're making, and you can go through and set up these things. This is where I really like that you can go ahead and you can set all of these things. Once it says that it represents a character, you can then set these token bars. And the token bars are the 3 circles that go across the top up here. And also has a bar that represents it as well. So what I do is I usually make the green one be the hit points of the character. I make the blue one be their armor class. And depending on this, the last one is DM preference. A lot of the times I will put spell save. But there are so many things that you can put. You can put how many spell slots that they have remaining or they've spent. You can put if they have their passive perception. You can put their sleight of hand bonus, you know, spells. But the one that I usually put if they're a caster is their spell save. Okay, so that way I know, okay, that's their spell save. I don't necessarily have to ask every time. And then I tend to use the nameplate. Now, this is the same on all of the tokens. So your NPCs, your player characters, you can set up their tokens this way on all of them. But if you want your players to be able to see the nameplate, to see who it is, you put be able to see. And you want to make sure it says, is left to edit, to be able to have the characters be able to edit the nameplate if they want to. Also need to put for them to be able to see the health bar. But if you want the rest of your players to be able to see it, you put visible to everyone. This allows everybody to be able to see the green bar that pops up over your token. Other players that do not have permission to this token, when they are not allowed to click on it, but this way, for everybody else, they can see how many hit points you have as to, you know, if you are close to death or not. So that is a DM preference. If you want your other players to be able to know this things, then you can put that on there. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and not have that set to everybody, just have it set to editors or hidden completely. Alright. If you want, the token bar can be above, it can be overlapping on the top, overlapping on the bottom, or below. So, I like to have it up on the top. It's just makes sense for me. If you do it compact versus standard, it should make it so that it only has the narrow ones. They're not as big. Hey, Astor, welcome to the stream. If you have a character that really likes to cast spells, area effect spells, such as Spirit Guardians or something that is a radius that moves with them, you can set that as a token aura. All you have to do is put in, say, it's a 15-foot radius, and it can be a circle or a square. And choose the tint color that goes with it. So say we're doing this guy, and it's got, you know, he's a cleric, and he's a war domain cleric, so let's give him, maybe his spirit guardians are, you know, something that are red. Okay. We save the settings, and you see now that he has a red aura. Well, that's great for you and him, but say you want the rest of the players to be able to see it as well. If you put player permission C, that aura is now visible to all of the players. This is super important if it is something in that aura, such as Pass Without a Trace, where they need to stay within, you know, 30 feet of them. You can, you know, you can set the area, and whenever they move, it goes with them. So this is the difference between doing like a spell template where it is a specific spot, doesn't have anything to do with where your players are. But the aura makes it really easy to have them move around. This also works if you have someone that casts detect magic within a, you know, that is within a 60-foot radius. You can, you know, if you have these guys on a map and your your player casts Detect Magic, and you don't want to have to sit there and go figure out where, if the thing that is magical is within the area of their Detect Magic, you can just go in here, change this to 60 foot, and now you know that well, first and foremost, this is a very small screen, but you know that if it's anywhere within this area of the player, whether you are, you have walls or whatever, you can, move the player here, there, the other way, and you know that it is within the area or it is not. So if your character comes in, to the room from over here, but your magic item is over here, it is not within his area. If he moves, to here, it's still not necessarily within his area. This way, it just makes it easier to know if it is within the area or not. And all you have to do is clear that, and it will go away. Alright. Okay. So, once you have the token things set as you want them with this part, if you are using dynamic lighting, with the new updated dynamic lighting, I should say, if you want your character to be able to see, you need to, all of them should have vision. It's really easy now if you have magical darkness to go in here and just turn off their vision, and it turns the whole screen black for them. And then when it comes time for them to be able to see again, all you gotta do is turn it back on. If that is for everybody, whether you have dark vision or not, the thing is that if you only have vision, and you don't have dark vision, this will only work if there is light put onto your map. So light sources on your map. It makes it, really easy if you want to have that immersive play, to have that be a thing to not necessarily penalize your characters that don't have dark vision, but make it a little bit more realistic in the fact that it will mean if there's no light source, they cannot see the map. They cannot see their other players or whatever. But if they have dark vision, that is the night vision here, you set it to be whatever feet they have. Most people for D&D have 60-foot dark vision. If you would like, you can just leave them all the same, or you can put a tint to their dark vision. This would allow you to be able to see who can specifically see what. I use it part of the time, I don't use it all of the time. But it makes your map really pretty from a DM standpoint, because you have all of the different players seeing different sections of the map because of the color of their dark vision. So it allows, you to be able to maybe have somebody move ahead and they can see, they're 2 steps ahead. Well, they can see things that other people can't. And it allows you to be able to see that. If you would like, depending on what you're doing and how you want to DM this, you can specifically set it so that the characters only have a limited field of vision. So realistically, even if you have dark vision, you can only see whatever direction you are pointing. Well, this allows you to do that. You can, set this where they only have, say, a 180 field of vision. 180 degrees. Because, for the most part, you have your peripheral, you have, you can see pretty much what's in front of you, but you cannot see behind you. That means that they would have to literally turn their token to be able to see the rest of the stuff. I haven't had a whole lot of situations where I have had this, called upon, but it is an option. Now, that is being able to see and having night vision. Say your character says he lights a torch. Okay. Well, now the token is going to be emitting light. Instead of making a different token and having them carry that, meaning moving 2 tokens at once, you can have their token specifically emit light. So if the token is doing bright light, so a torch, is 5 feet bright light, and say it's 5 foot low light. This means that you have the token itself emitting light, and for a total of 10 feet. That is really cool. If it, say though, instead of a torch, they have the bullseye lanterns, you can specifically set the direction of the light emitting from the token. So, very much like the limited field of vision, you can also set the directional light as well. It's just really, really cool. Makes a difference. I have been running some like random one-shots, and one of the one-shots that I ran specifically had to do with the bullseye lanterns, and I was able to put the light on and have it be very obvious, because it made differences as to what they could and couldn't see. There are some settings that are, you can have it multiply stuff. Don't tend to use that, but okay. If you are not using dynamic lighting, you can go back and use the legacy lighting, which is how it was prior to dynamic lighting being a thing. Yes, they are going to be changing that eventually, as they're working out the kinks of dynamic lighting. But you can be able to have that be an option. So once you have all of this situated the way that you want it to be, you go ahead and with the character token highlighted, you go back to their character sheet, you hit edit, and to their default token, you hit the selected item, and it puts the token into there. Granted, this one specifically looks just like the avatar, but now if you were to say remove the avatar and say your character is currently has what's a good example here? Well, the example I used earlier. So if the token is this gnome guy right here, but you have the full artwork, if you take this and you drag it on, it will put that there, but you still have the same token. So that means is you can have a full piece of artwork here and still have the token artwork be what is pulled up over here. Because now if you drag this character onto the board, it's not going to bring the avatar, it's going to bring the actual token that we made onto the screen. So, and then all you have to do to go back and change that is go back and remove. And the players can access and do the avatars. You are the only one as a DM to be able to do the token itself. Okay. So we have our character. We have the ability for our character to use dynamic lighting. It is all set up and ready to go. So that means if you change maps or whatever, all you have to do is just drag the character onto the board to be able to do that. Okay, that is... Now we've gone over character sheets, we've gone over setting up the token. Alright. So that is... That is as far as you need to go right now. You have a playable character. You have either you can make or your players can make and have a playable character. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get the grid off here. We don't need it on this page. Okay. Alright. One of the other things that is super important and makes life super easy as a DM is if you have already set up certain things and you just want to copy over from another game, again, this is using the Pro subscription, they have what is called a transmogrifier. This allows you to choose a different game that you run and bring over the information from here to your current game. So let's see here. Let's go. Let's find one that I know. Divine Contention. That was the original first time I ran this campaign online. So I have some random battle maps that I own through Roll20, and I really enjoy using the camp, the forest, and the road ones. So I'm going to go ahead, and all you have to do is, once you've chosen a game on this side, is you go, scroll down, you find it, and you just click and drag it over, and it will bring it into your new game. This is super, super easy for maps, especially like the taverns or stuff like that that you may, use a lot of in your various games. It makes it easier to bring it across. Also, if there is a character that you have that is in this game that you want to bring into this one, you can do that the same as well. If you happen to have characters that you finish playing up one game and you're moving all your characters to another game, you can bring that in as well. This also works for bringing in NPCs. And it also works, I gotta scroll down because there's a lot of people, bringing in decks. If you have certain decks that you like to use, like I have made myself a DM deck, you can bring that over. This one's being the same has the combat and conditions and stuff, so that works out. Also, if you have handouts that you like and want to bring across, you can do that as well. Let's see, I think there might be one in here that I want to bring across. But again, gotta scroll all the way down. Let's see here. Nope, okay. Also, rollable tables are able to be brought across. So if you have spent the time to make a rollable table, such as if you, one that I'm going to eventually make is a crit table. So one of the other DMs, actually one of our fellow streamers, the Mother of Jedi, uses crit tables for natural 20s and natural 1s. So it would be really easy for her to make a table on Roll20 and be able to have the players roll on that table whenever they get a crit or a, crit either way. So that makes it easy, and you can just bring those in from game to game. If you use the Roll20 jukebox, you can also bring your playlists over. So, like I said, we're bringing over things. Well, now you see that I brought over some random items. A lot of those random items were archived in the other game, so they automatically go to the archive in here. The forest map was not, so we will put that into the archive. And we are good to go. We have the random battle maps here in our archive of pages. Alright, so the rollable tables is on here, and you can see that there's quite a few of them on this specific module that comes with the rollable tables. You also can see that there's a DM deck as well that I just brought over. Now, I specifically made this DM deck, and it has cards that I actually have in real life as well, so that you can give them out to your players and have them be the option. They can use them to keep track of stuff. It's what I use on my in-person games as well, because it allows you to have a physical item to remind you of that health potion that you currently have. Or the disadvantage card to remind someone that they have disadvantage next roll that they have. Or inspiration. And this is the one that I use, DM inspiration. And for those of you on my channel that are super observant, you will see this gray cat right here. Kind of goes with the new logo that I've got going on with my ashy cat. So yeah, so that is that. If you put to show, they will come up right here, and you can choose or you can deal. If it's regular cards, you would just deal however many cards to each player or whatever. Since this is a special kind of deck of cards, you are able to choose which cards you give them. So for Adventure League, we start with inspiration and a health potion at every game for tier 1. So all you do is you grab an inspiration card and you drag it to your player's name. And then you grab another one, and so now they have 2 cards in their deck. And you see, once you click on their name, they will pop out. And in order for them to, to use them, they click on their name on the little, die in this case, and say they want to use the health potion. All you got to do is drag it onto the page, and it becomes this giant icon, or giant token. But that lets me know, okay, that person has used their health potion. All you gotta do is click delete, and it will be there. So now we know they don't no longer have a health potion. So if they ask, can I use a health potion? It's, do you still have one? Is there one in your inventory? No? Then I guess you don't. If they use their inspiration, you just have them throw that inspiration card out on the table, and you delete that, and you are good to go. Actually, if you have, say the end of the session, your players have, all these things, they haven't spent them. What if they expire during the end, that session? If they're, it's a use it this session or lose it, such as DM inspiration. Well, they haven't used it. All you gotta do is recall them. You can do recall all of them. They no longer have them in their hand. Okay. Let's see here. What else have we got in? Okay. Let's see. I think I ended up doing this yesterday, but I'm not positive. Using your character sheet to roll. Your character sheet is awesome. It has lots of things for you to be able to do without having too much trouble doing it. And that is such as rolling your attacks. So if you need to roll an attack, say it's your turn, it comes up, and you want to do a mace attack. All you do is click on the word mace, and it will put a roll up into the chat. If you hover over it, you will see that it shows you exactly what it rolled. It rolled a 1d20 plus 2 strength and 2 proficiency. Well, in this case, you rolled a 4 plus 2 plus 2, which equals the 8. It also shows you right here that it was the mace plus 4. So without even hovering over it, you know that this was you rolled a d20 plus 4 for this attack. Well, say you're fighting zombies or something that has a really low AC. An 8 might hit. Well, okay, then you need to do the damage. All you have to do for damage is click on the word mace itself on the chat window. This is where it's the big difference. You may think, okay, well, I just need to click this again. No, you hit the word mace on the chat window, and it will roll your damage. Now, say your character is one that gets extra damage depending on whatever, it is. Say they get sneak attack, or they get extra damage if it's undead, or something like that. You can add a global modifier to be able to have that. You just say show global damage modifier or attack modifier or whatever. And okay. Then when you go to your thing, you see that there is a spot for a global damage modifier. Most common is sneak attack, of course, but say you have undead does an extra 1d6 damage. If it crits, it'll be a 2d6. Say it is it's radiant damage. Okay. Well, so you come into this fight, you see that they are undead. You're very aware that they're undead. So you roll a mace attack. It's still gonna be clearly not very good, apparently. Alright, whatever. Before you hit your damage, though, you know that it's gonna do extra damage. Check this check mark, and when you roll it, it will give you the extra damage. So it will roll that 1d6 along with your regular damage that you had for your mace. This is really great if you have characters that maybe have Hex or Wavering Mark or anything that gives them extra damage on certain things, not on everything. This allows you to do this. The one that I use for half-orcs, because they get a special bonus savage attacker whenever they crit, they could get an extra die. I don't remember what the die is, but I put that one on there. So if they roll this and it happened to go lower, but if it was a natural 20, instead of just rolling the damage, they know they're going to get an extra die. So then, let's say it was a d6. Sure, why not? then you click on that and it will roll that extra d6 from Savage Attacker. Alright. Okay. There is global saves, skills, and attack modifiers. If your players happen to have things that add to their attack or their skills or their saves, you just click those and it will give you the option. So say you have a cleric that casts Bless, you might want to put Bless on all of your players' character sheets. That way, if they are blessed, all they have to do is click on that global save modifier before they roll whatever the save is, because it will then roll... Oh, I rolled really great right there. It will roll it along with whatever your save was. I don't think a 4 is going to help me in anything for an intelligence save, but you never know. It became a good example, though. So, if you happen to roll a natural 1, whether it is on a d20 or a damage die, it should come up as red. That is a 1. If you roll something that is the crit success on that die, whether it is a 20, a 10, a 12, a 8, a 6, a 4, it should come up green. Now, the exception to this is if you roll your damage and you roll, say this is a d6, say you roll a 1 and a 6 on 2d6. The number possibly could be blue. It's kind of a weird thing, but it just means that within this number, you have one of each. You have a crit success and a crit failure. So that was really nice of this intelligence check to show us those things. Okay. The one for the attack modifier is the same. If you have Bless, you might want to put it in there too. Okay. Did I choose the... Did I choose the skills one too? I did. Okay. Alright. There is one that adds... If you have something that adds to the AC, such as... it might add to your armor class that you have boots that give you, extra for that. That adds like a +1 to your defense. You can have it be right there. If you would like, you can put your shield right there, and this is an easy way to know if you have the shield out or if you do not, as your armor class. So this guy's armor class, if I did the shield, we're just going to unclick it there. His armor class is 16. But say this means that he has a shield out. Okay, well that makes it go up a little bit. You can also have it here, click it here if you have your shield or not. So you may want to just move that up, but if you have something else that might add to their armor class, you can always have it be in one of the modifiers here. The skill modifier is down here under tool proficiencies. If you have someone who casts guidance, you may want to do that, because if it is clicked, that means that they will roll a d4 with whatever skill. So say you click on stealth, it will roll your stealth plus your guidance. Wow, I am really rolling really crappy today. Here, let's put this out and see. Throw in the dice jail. Maybe the dice jail will help. Throw that onto the stream. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. It's worth a try, right? Okay, so those are character sheet things. Oh, actually, before we get to there, let's actually go back to this cogwheel here. So I showed you how to do Charactermancer yesterday. Well, what happens when you need to roll and level up? Very simple. You go back to this cogwheel right here, click on it, it will bring up this page, and you click on Launch Charactermancer Plus, not the Launch Level 1, because that will just remake a brand new character. You want to do Launch Level Plus Charactermancer, and that will bring up the Charactermancer again, and it will walk you through exactly what it takes to level up your character. This means that if your character gets certain aspects in their class, it will show just that. An example of that for this character is he is a cleric, so that means that he's going to get some class features, some subclass features. Also, the hit points, you can either roll for it, or in the Adventure League, we use the average. So this one would get 5 because it is the average is 5. Okay. So this if you were to multi-class instead of being a cleric, say you wanted to multi-class into something else, you would put 0 right here, and you would put whatever class that you're multi-classing into. Say you want to multi-class in with fighter, I don't know. Then it's going to be level 0 plus, and you'd go 1, and it will walk you through that. We do not want a multi-class, so we're going to go back and just be the level, and we add the 1 right there, hit average, and click next. So this now allows us to know that at level 2 you get Channel Divinity, you get Turn Undead, you can harness your divine power to fuel your spells, and you get Guided Strike. Alright. And then we go to spells. This guy being a spellcaster, he now has a few of the spells from his class. So he gets Blast, Healing Word, and Inflict Wounds from his class. Okay. Alright. So, okay. Let's see here. So we get to add some spells in here, and let's see here. He's a War Domain Cleric, so we're gonna give him Bane. Okay. So, okay. Let's go to next. Okay. Since he doesn't get any ability score increase or feats, it automatically goes to review. And since those all look good, now we have... Okay. Alright. So we have a couple of the spells. We now have Harness Divine Power right here, as well as Channel Divinity. And you have Guided Strike. See, perfect. It went ahead and put that into the global attack modifiers. So, Guided Strike means that when you make an attack roll, you can use your Channel Divinity to gain a +10 to the roll. So if you wanted to do a Guided Strike on a mace, you would click this prior to clicking the word mace, and it will add the 10 to the mace attack. So it's 15 plus 10 for Guided Strike, so that would be a 25. And it definitely hits. There's no extra, damage or whatever on that, so you just have the regular damage. But that gives you Guided Strike. Okay. Alright. Let's see here. I have a big list. That's what I'm trying to go over at this point. Let's see. What else have we got going on here? Let's see. Okay. Let's grab a random battle map here. And let's go to that. So you as a DM can go to this map without bringing your players with you by just going and clicking on the map. You see the little ribbon? That means that is where your players are all seeing. If you have players that are listed down here, you can actually bring them to a different page individually. So say your party is one of those groups that likes to split the party. You can split the party quite literally by moving one person here, and the rest of your players are still at this ribbon. And then all you need to do to bring them back is to drag their little person that is on here over to the ribbon and let go, and it will bring them back to that page. If you want to move all of the players somewhere, you just grab that ribbon and drag it over, and now all of your players are on this page with you. Okay. Alright, so that's how that works. Alright, so we are on this battle map, and we want to bring, say, our... Oh, okay, so as a character, or as a DM, you see these other items, the carts that are on here. Well, if you bring your character on and you want to see what your player sees, you do Control L. Oops, not Control L. No, Alt L. That would work in dynamic lighting. You have what's called a GM overlay, and the items that are on the GM level are actually viewable to only the GM through the regular objects and tokens layer. If you want to be able to maybe not see them quite as much or not see them at all, you bring this bar down and it shows you what's only visible to the players. If you want them to be extremely visible, you forget that they're not on the right layer. You put the bar all the way to the top. Usually it lives around, about right there for me, so that I am aware if our players are getting really close, that they might, see this when they get, that close. And if so, if you need to bring something to the object layer or the map layer, you click on it and you move it to the token layer. And now your characters can see this wagon that is right there. This works for anything that is a token on the map. Say you want to make this be not movable. It's bugging you, you keep clicking on it on accident or whatever. All you gotta do is put it on the map layer, and it becomes on the map layer. It is no longer accessible from the token layer, but the players can still see it. Okay. So, say you're traveling along with this wagon, and there's an ambush up ahead. So as a GM, you know that this is coming. You might want to set up where your placement of your NPCs are prior to the game. Say it's gonna be, well, let's see here. We know that. Let's say we know there's ogres that are going to be up here. If you drag them onto the GM layer, you can place all of your guys prior to the game, and whenever they get close, all you have to do is move them to the token layer, and now these 4 ogres have showed up with our player. Our player can now see them. Well, how do you distinguish as to which ogre is which when you have them on here? All their tokens look the same. Well, thanks to Roll20, they have given us a way to figure that out. If you click on this circle, as opposed to the cogwheel down here, we have what is called the token markers. Very simple way to figure out the difference between all of these 4 guys is to give them just each a color. We've got red, we've got blue, you know, maybe this guy's pink, and this one's orange. Now, your characters go, okay, I want to shoot the ogre. Which ogre you want to shoot? I want to shoot the blue ogre. Okay, no problem. Now you know exactly which ogre that they are shooting at, and you can go and, you know, click on the ogre, since it is set up here in Roll20, and you see the ogre's AC is only 11. His hit points are 59. So, say the character used this mace and did 3 points of damage to this ogre. Maybe he came, you know, 2 turns, it took him to get there, but he got there, comes up to this ogre and hits him with the mace for 3 damage. On your token, all you gotta do is click on the green bubble and it brings up this little white square, or rectangle. If you do -3, so he's got 59 hit points now, you -3, it will subtract it for you. It's one of the greatest things. It helps you do the math. I appreciate all of the help to do the math when you've got, you know, so many items going on. And that brings up, you know, the ability to, and that works on both player tokens and NPCs. If you click on the circle, it will allow you to change the number. Plus or minus, for that matter. So, yeah, I use the token markers, and I use them a lot. So much so that I actually have gone and purchased token markers for use on Roll20. And as you see down here, I've got lots of different ones that I use, including the flying token markers and some that I actually made myself. As well as some of the ones that I can never find the information for. So, say you have a character who has a readied action, you can put this little stop clock on there and you know that they are holding their action for something. Say your character is taking the dodge action, you can put this little dodgy guy up there. Really easy. Makes you realize that, you know, he's dodging. So if you bring, you know, if he's sitting here and you bring another character up in melee with him, okay, this guy's dodging, you see that on the token, you know that you have to roll at disadvantage to hit him. And once you have it there, it shows up, or you click on it again and it will go away. I have, you know, levels of exhaustion, restrained, prone, bless, charmed, bardic inspirations, you know, it just, but, you know, depends on what you use. And we'll go over macros too, that is something that we will be going over. But and I use a lot of these within my macros that I make as well. Okay. But coloring them is a really, really easy way to distinguish the difference between your tokens. If they don't have names. If they have names for your NPCs, all you gotta do is go in here and change their name. So say this is Ogre number 3. Okay, well you can do that. You can do Ogre number 3. If you want the players to know that that's Ogre number 3, you have to put, for them to be able to see it. There are ways using token modifier to be able to set up your tokens so that every time you drag one onto the board, it will number them for you. That works really well if you are setting up a game completely from scratch, not when you're necessarily using a module, because then you have to go through and resave every single token. But if you're starting from scratch and you bring in, the character into Roll20, then it might be worth it. Okay, so speaking of macros, let's go ahead and we're gonna go and find us some macros to use. Okay, so macros are things that help to make your life extremely easier as a DM. And something that I honestly struggle if I forget to set them up prior to the game, if I'm running a one-shot and I just happen to forget to set up my macros. So on this little 3.3 line bar, you'll find that there is a macros section. So macros are things that let you make a action with only one push of a button. Like I said at the top of the session, I happen to have a Google Doc that helps me with this and allows me to have all of my commands and whatnot in one spot where all I have to do is copy paste. So super helpful. Let's see here. Okay. So say we want to, going back with we have someone who casts Bless. You want to be able to know which characters have Bless cast on them, right? Well, this macro will allow us to do that. Okay, so say we'll go over to our guy right here. The learn how to make a character guy. Okay. Say he has Bless on him. We want to be able to know, just looking at the token, that he has Bless. Well, that is why we have made this macro. We have made this macro to make it easier on us as a DM to know this. So, using those token markers, we have done some kind of super cool effects, but also made it so that this button will automatically put the Bless token marker onto our character. So, I have done is, if you go to this little lightning bolt, these are effects that you can do. So I chose the effect burst, so that would be this one, and I chose holy. So if you want to see what those do, it does that. Well, I want it to do that whenever I have it shows that I am clicking on it to use Bless. So you go in, you put the you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 in front of it just so that it makes it be up at the very top. Okay, let's go 1 bless. Okay, so we're going to click save. And, oh, I guess I have to put 0 because it's not the top. Okay. That's alright. 1 is fine. So, you will see that it is now in here. If you click in bar, it will put it down here for you. So, if you, as you go, you want to make sure that they work, you can click test macro. And you will see that it did the little burst, but it also put the marker onto our character. So we know that works. Now, what happens when bless ends? Well, there's a couple of options. You can either go click on the circle, go scroll down until you find bless on the token marker. But even easier than that, you just click on bless again and it will go away. I apparently did not take the beep off. Okay. So that is an easy way to have your marker there. If you say you want to add one that helps you to be able to, whenever a player kills one of your NPCs, you want to make sure that it is really easy to know if that NPC is dead or not. So, say fatality. That is not right. Thank you. Thank you, spell check. Okay, so same thing. We did the effect. We did token mod. Now we're gonna test it. You need to click on the token. But we don't want to kill our dude right there. Say we want to kill this ogre guy. He takes that final swing and he takes him out. Easily enough, it puts a X over the NPC. That lets your characters know that it is dead. Okay. Well, what if you want your character to, or say you want it to also set the NPC to health to 0. Well, you can even add a set bar 1 value to 0, and then when you test it again, now all of the NPC's health is gone, and he is got that big red X, makes it very obvious that he is dead. Oops, I did it again. Okay. 1 fatality. Alright. Well, what if you want that to be in your bar as well? Easily enough, you just click on the bar there, and it puts it in there. Okay, well, since we're looking for things to make our life easier, and you have a barbarian, your barbarian, you know, has his favorite class feature being rage, of course. So you want your person to be able to show that they are raging, so that you know whether to half that damage or if they take full damage, or to know if they should be getting their rage bonus or not. Well, easily enough, we can have a little token status marker for rage as well. So click on your token, test the macro, and look at that. It did a little effect, and it now has a little marker on it that specifically looks like a guy who's raging. Looks kind of pissed off, right? Okay, well, what if you want that macro to be available to your player as a token action. All you gotta do is click on token action and save your changes. Well, a token action is actions that, of course, that specific player can take. If you click on that player's token, you will now see up in this left-hand corner there is rage. But if you click on another one, it also shows that. That is because rage is set to be a token action for any specific characters, or any characters, not specific to that. If you wanted it to be able to be specific and didn't want it to be a token action, if you put visible to all players and do save, that means the players themselves can go, they have this bar as well, this option as well. They can go in and on their character, they can put rage into the bottom bar and they can be able to access it as well. All they gotta do is click the rage and it will put the little icon on there, and it will take it off if you click it again. So those are some really cool ones. One that I use all of the time and have it available as a token action is healing potions. Healing potions are super, super, super important. And something that gets used a lot in D&D. But also, that means that your players are going to always, always, always forget how much does that healing potion get. So I make it so that it is visible as a token action, and I click save. So whenever the player clicks on their token, you see this little bar come up in the top left corner, and say they want to use their health potion. All they have to do is click on the health potion button, choose what kind of healing they are using, and click submit. So if they're using a regular healing potion, click submit, and it will tell you how much healing you get back. This already has the extra, built in, as you see from the macro: 2d4 plus 2, greater 4d4 plus 4, 8d8 plus 8, or 8d4 plus 8, or 10d4 plus 20. It also has the ointment, which is super awesomely helpful if you have players who have that, because it has multiple uses. It is not a one and done thing. So you can choose the ointment and roll it, and it will roll that ointment, but it will also specifically remind people that it cures poison and any disease. So super important to realize that. And that one, because we set it as a token action, is visible up here in the top left hand corner. Alright. Other ones that I use with fatality, fatality being dead, you have characters go unconscious, right? So I have an unconscious one that I use just to help them realize, as much as me realize, that their character is unconscious. And so we set this. Okay. Alright. But I realized that I forgot a extra line of text that I wanted to put in here. And that is that our character is also prone when he becomes unconscious. So gonna set the status marker to be unconscious, gonna set it to dying and prone, and set the bar to 0. And we are going to put that into the bar down here. And what that looks like is currently our person has 17 hit points. He takes a hit from an ogre, that does more than 17 points. He is now unconscious. He is currently on life support. So I've got the little heartbeat monitor guy. And he is prone. So the reason that I have the little heartbeat monitor thing is a way to remind me as a DM that this guy is still on death saves. Because I've got another macro to remind me that he can be stabilized. And if that is the case, so 1 stable. And we put that in the bar as well. So now when we click on that, it's going to, if he stabilizes but doesn't come up with hit points, he is now stable. That means that he is still at 0, but he's no longer doing death saves. So that takes away the little death save one. Well, okay, but what if he's still on death saves? And what if he he rolls a natural 1? Well, that's all fine and good. We appreciate that he did that. Or one of his party members was nice enough to get him some healing. Well, if that's the case, though, that means he is no longer unconscious. And actually, I forgot, I need to modify that just a little bit, because that also means that he is not dying any longer. So we're going to put the not dying any longer. But he's still prone, so that one's going to stay. And he is... We're going to put that. We're going to save. So now, when we click on it and he rolls a natural 20, if we do conscious at 1, it brings his hit points back to 1. It gets rid of the unconscious and the bleeding out part, but he's still prone, so the prone button is still there. Well, okay, then what if he gets up? Well, that's easily enough handled, because we're going to do another macro, and this macro is the prone macro. And we're going to put that one into the bar as well. And so if, say, on his turn he decides to get up, all you gotta do is click the button, and he no longer has that prone. That means he's standing up. Well, okay, what if he's still got, say, 8 hit points, okay? But he's not prone anyway. Say he's grappled or something and he's prone. All you gotta do is click that prone button, and it makes his character have the prone icon on the token marker. And then he gets up, you just click on it again. I like the little super fancy effects, which I leave in there. But you don't have to. You can have it not do the effects and just do the token marker if you want. That's easily enough done. Okay, let's see here. What else? Okay, and okay. Let's see here. We've got, so you get these things on here, and as you can see, it's starting to take up a lot of room over here, right? On the bar down at the bottom. Well, if you say we keep doing things and we decide, we want all of these things in the bars down here, that's great. You can have all of those things in the bar, but if you get more than like the just straight across, ends up meaning you have an extra little bar down here to have to scroll around. We can fix that though. We can fix that by making each of these be a lot shorter than just the wording that is on there. There's a couple ways to do this. The way that I like doing it is by shortening it to hey, no worries. No worries, L2. I wanted to send you the macro list. And that way, when you do get a chance to watch this, you can play along, shall we say, with the macros. You know, always get to like play along with me here. And if anybody else is listening and would like a copy of that, please just send me a message and I will send you the PDF of the macros and APIs that I use. Okay, so fatality is a kind of a long word, so is unconscious. We want to make it easier. Well, I like to use, you know, we have all these emotes and stuff which make it extremely easy to use to say a lot of things with little bitty pictures, right? Well, if you click, right click on the button down here, you can actually rename things, and it will allow you to rename something as emotes, or as, you know, so you can do that and it will change it to little bitty pictures. I like little bitty pictures. And so you are able to change these things to be little pictures instead of the big, you know, long word. So let's use unconscious, for example. Unconscious is kind of a long word, right? It's not so long when you put the little emotes down here. So I chose things that would remind me of what these were without necessarily having to know, okay, that is, you know, the thing. So this one, fatality, you are dead and you are now a ghost. If you are, you know, it works, right? This one is conscious at, or is oh, I put it on the wrong one. Look at that. We'll find out which one this is. That is the unconscious. I chose the conscious button. So I see that would have been confusing for me. I would have thought this was conscious at 1. So he's kind of dazed, but he's at 1. This is the unconscious one. So we have the unconscious. He's on a timer because he's currently bleeding out. Alright. We've got a band-aid for stabilized because, I mean, if you're stabilized, most likely somebody has come over and, you know, given you a band-aid or something. So that makes sense. Conscious at 1. He's dazed and he's at 1 hit point. Prone. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the symbol like this, so I had to come up with another one. And I chose a bed, because if you are laying in bed, you are prone. And we've got rage. Well, what better one to use as a symbol of rage than this guy right here? And I can't zoom in on it, but it is the emote that is a red face with the cursing little you know, exclamation point and the little symbols that mean you're cursing. Because if you're raging, you are mad. And healing potions. I mean, if you're having healing potions, they're most likely administered by paramedics. So I've got that. Well, that's great. These are awesome. Oh, and bless. Let's grab this one here. Just to have them be all taken care of. So that's great. That makes it really easy. We've got some symbols, and as you can see, they are a lot shorter than if these were all the words, which gave us that extra bar because it went beyond this end of the page. Well, that's great. And, you know, you can be just right here. This is the end. You're happy. It's all good. You've got symbols. It's made it easier. That's fine. Well, oops. Let's get him. Okay, there we go. That's all fine, and you could stop right here and be perfectly happy, and your life would be easier, and it's all good. Well, why not take it one step farther and color code your buttons down here? Now, keep in mind, if you take the thing off of the bar with the button over here and you put it back, you have to do the symbols again because it doesn't remember that. And if you put the symbols as the name, it doesn't work. I wish it did, but it doesn't work. Okay, so you want to make it even easier on yourself, right? Emblems are great, but there's a lot of emblems down there. The other easy way to do it, and I mean, you could do this with just the words too, but I like to color code them. Death. Death is very dark, so we're going to put that as black. You are currently on the ground doing death saves because, oh my god, you are bleeding out. So I do red, of course. You are stabilized. You're still kind of bloody. You're stabilized though. So why don't we put maybe orange? Okay. You're hurting, but you're conscious at 1. You know, yellow. That works. You are prone. We want to make sure that this one is very obvious, so we will choose a bright pink on that one. Rage. Well, rage is red, of course. And health potions. I like to use dark red for that one. And well, actually, hold on. Did I do that right? No, rage is gray because we already have red. We'll do gray. And plus the gray, the red sticks out on the gray. And then bless, I usually use like a peach color just because it works for me. And I've gone through and gotten a lot of other colors. But now, when you're running a game and you need to, do this, all you gotta do is look for the color down here. So it works for just about, okay. Sorry, my mother-in-law just texted me about a situation, so it just threw me off a little bit. Okay. Alright, so, yeah, we can it makes it a lot easier to know, okay, I just need to look for the orange button down here. Or the, the pink button, because he's prone. There you go. Alright. Okay. So, that will help you a lot when you're running games. Especially because you can make those macros be as... Oh, I realized one that is extremely important, and I've made my players be just a little bit spoiled because of this one. And that is the initiative button. Okay, so your players need to be in initiative for combat, right? Okay. Well, your turn order, when it comes up, if, say, your character has their character sheet brought up, okay? Oh, let's let him be at 1 hit point here. Oops. Okay, he's stabilized, and he is conscious at 1, which I forgot to do. Come here, let me see this here. Okay, he's conscious, he's at, let's say he's at, let's say he's at 5 hit points. Yeah, sure, why not? Oh, remember you have to hit enter when you put in the 5 or else it will not save. Okay. Alright, so let's say your character has his character, or your player has their character sheet open, right? And it's time to roll initiative. There's a couple of ways to do this. One way is to just click on the initiative button. But here's the thing. If you do not choose a token on the board before you roll initiative, it'll still roll the initiative, it just won't put it into the turn tracker. But there is a couple of ways to go around this. If you click on your token and then click on initiative, then it will roll it and it will put your character into the turn order. Well, what if you don't have your character sheet open, but you need to roll initiative? If you put this macro into the game and you set it to be a token action, every time your player clicks on their token and hits the initiative button up on the top left-hand corner, it will roll initiative and it will put them into the initiative order. So I actually like doing this even, I do it all the time for my players because that allows me to know that they have rolled initiative. Because I have it set where it will do a special effect, however, it did not decide to do that right now. Let's see here. Let's see if it will do it on another one. This way you can also... No, it doesn't want to do it. Oh, because I did... Never mind, I didn't have it. I forgot to set it as a thing. Okay, so... You can also set it where it will have an effect. I forgot this was the list I had that did not have an effect on it. Some of the times, if it's, you can set it as to have an effect, or you can just, not. It doesn't matter. It is up to your preference. There's times where I will have it be, like a burst of magic. Just so that I know that they, looking at the board, zoomed out, okay, well, there's a burst of magic over here, and a burst of magic over here, and a burst of magic over here, and over here. Okay, those characters have already rolled initiative. But you don't have to. You can just do it as simple as this one, where it is just the selected character and rolling initiative for them. And like I said, putting it as a token action puts it up here in this order. Every time you click on a token, it will have that option. That is great to be able to have it, So I've rolled the initiative for these ogres. I don't have their character sheets up yet, but I have initiative for them already. Okay, so... We're going to roll the last one here. Okay. If you need to know whose initiative, so you have ogre, ogre, you can just hover over their turn and it will put a yellow box around their, whoever token is that person in initiative. So that is an option. So when you need to sort the turn order, there's a couple ways to do that. One, you can just click and drag your guy to the bottom because you know that he's last and just manually change it. Or say you have, a list of of characters that's extremely long, and you don't want to have to sit there and spend that time, if you click on the little cogwheel at the bottom, it will bring up turn order settings, and you can do it ascending or descending order. I mean, whichever way you want to go. Usually it's descending order for D&D, but you never know. Maybe you want to switch it up and have it different. You can also alphabetize, but the thing that I learned that I think is really cool, what if your character casts a spell that has a duration of, say, a minute, and you're in initiative order? Well, okay, every round takes 6 seconds, so you need to know when that that spell is done. So let's say it's an effect, whatever the effect name is, and you want it to increase by 1 every round. You can add this to the initiative tracker, and as you go, it will start counting up. So you know that when this effect gets to 10, you can do this effect. You can have it be the rounds, you can have it be the certain effect, or whatever you want. It will just keep counting up as you keep going with the turn order. And so you know that right now it's been 6 rounds, so you know that the effect, say it was good for a minute, has 4 more rounds to go before it expires. So this is super helpful for that aspect. This turn order settings page also will remove all turns, so you can say you rolled initiative last time, now you don't have those same people in initiative, you can remove them and it just starts all over. Okay, let's see here. Those are something that is super easy to make something that you can make your life a lot easier with. If you have the turn order open and the player forgot to, you've got all of these people on the initiative, and what if your character forgot to click his token before he rolled initiative, just like we did right here? You, as the DM, have the ability to put this guy into the initiative. So you click on, right-click on his token, and you click Add Turn. Don't worry, he doesn't have to click initiative again, even though it says 0. You can go in and you can click 9.12, which is what the very first initiative roll he did was. Hey Sass, welcome back! We're just going over some turn order stuff, some extra things that I didn't get to yesterday. So, did some macros and, working on, bonus stuff. I didn't get as much done yesterday as I had hoped to do, and so we are taking care of that right now. Okay. So, if the person forgot to put themselves into initiative, you have the ability to add them to the initiative count. You just right-click and add to turn, and then click on the number and put whatever their initiative they rolled happened to be. If, say, you open up the turn order and it only has your same people on it, and you're gonna re-roll initiative. If their name is already in the initiative bar and they click on the macro again, it will change the number that is on their thing. If you see that you're in chat, it is yellow, that means it is a whisper roll. So you would have to go to their, if you want them to be seen, you would go to the character sheet and set it so it's not a whisper roll. But if it is a whisper roll, they still get put into turn order. However, the number is not there. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, one of the situations. So you're in initiative. You have gone over here. You've clicked descending order. You know your ogre's going first. Okay, it's all good. If you as a DM, you click on the ogre. You hold down the shift button and you double click on the ogre. It will bring up his character sheet. Apparently, according to Fiddle, the stater, ogres are the worst dancers ever. Thank you, Wizards of the Coast. NPCs, if they are coming from, the compendium, they will have other information about the thing, including how many ogres or what you should put against parties, which are pretty awesome. But we have the NPC character sheet. Now, if you click on this cogwheel, it will let you change anything and everything you wish about the NPC, including doing advantage toggle and whisper toggle, and even damage. You can show the name in the rolls, or you can hide it. For me, he's just a ogre, doesn't really matter. And you can add the dex tiebreakers to initiative as well. That is where the 0.12 comes in on our character, because it allows you to, if there is a tie, it makes it so that the turn order automatically sorts it via the dex, whichever character's dex is higher. So if you notice, on our character, his dex is a 12. The actual, not the modifier, the actual dex number is a 12, so it is 0.12. If it was a 15, it would be 0.15. If it was an 8, it would be 0.08. So that allows you to know that. Okay. But this part, if you know that your ogres are going to have, instead of 59 hit points, he's going to have 63 hit points, you can change that on here, and he will have 63 hit points. So you will see that if you were to drag another ogre out, let's go down here to creatures, and we're going to bring another ogre out. You would have to change the token to reflect the difference, but now you can put 63 hit points, and this guy's a little bit beefier. Now, NPC sheets are very similar to regular character sheets in that lots of things are clickable, including their name, of course. But this also means that their attacks and stuff are clickable as well. Okay, so see, I ended up rolling a 10.08 by clicking on the name of the character. That automatically rolls initiative for them. Well, I wasn't clicked on a token, so this guy didn't actually get into initiative. We'll give him a yellow color. So I want to bring him into the initiative. I click add turn order, add to turn, and I put him at 10.08. So you now actually see that all of these, we'll get all of these guys on to do here, because now they have the 0.08. So you see all these ogres have an 8 to dexterity. So you see that they all have a 0.08. We want to sort these into descending order. I mean, it does have a lot of, numbers now that we have the 0.8s, but had any of our ogres rolled a 9, they would be going after our character because he has a 9.12. If they had a 9, it would be a 9.08. Got it? Got it. Alright, so so we know that the ogre's going first. Okay. Well, our ogre here has a great club and 2 javelins, or 2 javelin attacks, either melee or ranged. For us to roll for this guy, all we have to do is click Great Club, and it will roll the attack for us. Okay, this guy didn't do too great. May need to put the dice jail back up. But if it did hit, instead of having to go and find some dice and roll them, all you have to do is click on the word Great Club and it will roll the damage for you. So much like our character sheet, you roll the attack and then click in chat on the name of the weapon and you get your damage. This is the same if we do a ranged attack with our javelin. You click on the name of the weapon and it rolls the damage for you. Say you have this ogre and you're going against some tier 1 characters, and maybe you don't want your great club to hit quite so hard because a great club is 2d8 plus 4 right now. Maybe you want this guy to not be able to do quite so much damage, and you want to change it maybe to 1d8. All you do is click the cogwheel and go in and you can change it itself, just like that. And now when you roll a great club and you click on the damage, he's only doing 1d8 instead of 2d8. So that's one way to perhaps make it a little less deadly of an encounter, without making it really obvious to your players that you are kind of nerfing it just a little bit. But that is one way to do it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my players love to throw saving throws my direction. I should say they both love and hate it. Which is fine. The reason they hate throwing saving throws at me is because those are where I tend to succeed as a DM. And so I tend to roll really terribly, as you have been evidenced by some of my rolls today. But when it comes to saving throws, the dice they like to let me have some natural 20s here and there. And so it's just, well, let's put it this way. If you have your ogre and he doesn't have, you can see he doesn't have, based on this stat block, any saves that are specific, but yet your players throw a wisdom saving throw at him. Okay. Well, then you would just click on wisdom to roll a wisdom save, since he doesn't have any specific bonuses to wisdom saves. Well, that's all great until you have to keep bouncing back and forth from this board with the map to the NPC character sheet and back and forth to your chat and everything. Well, again, this is where macros come into play. I have scoured the some of the Roll20 chat options and have found a saving throw macro that helps to helps you to be able to have this as an option. And let's put it on the bottom down here without having to bring up the character sheets. So all you got to do is click the save button, and it will choose which type of save it is, and it will roll that save for you. It should roll that save for you. It did not. Why did it not? Let's see. Let's do a dex save. There we go. So easily enough, you can do that wisdom save without leaving your map page. It will work on your characters as well, so not just NPCs. Say you want to do a dex save for a character that you're playing, just as easy with that. Now, what if you're a new DM and these NPC sheets just make you very overwhelmed? You don't understand how to read it or whatever, and you wish that it looked just like your regular character sheets. You can do that. If you just take away the checkmark that says NPC, it will put it into a regular character sheet for you. This will allow you to see what their attacks and everything here. The only problem is when you do this is it does not transfer over the attacks, so you would need to pull in their attacks. And say you wanted to go back to how it was before, you just have to click on the NPC option again. So easily enough. Now, say you have characters that say you decide you're going to have an NPC that is going to be a recurring theme, and you know that this one is maybe traveling with the players or something, and you want to make it easy on yourself, or easy on a player that is maybe helming the character for you. On the character sheet, oops, wrong one, ogre. You can go to attributes and abilities, and you can actually add abilities here, which can give you the opportunity to put things down here or things as token option, so that you can roll easily without even having to open the character sheet up at all. Now, how this works is you go, and it's just like our macros that we did over here. However, these are going to be attack specific. So you click on the attack, and you click the up arrow in chat, and you're just going to copy all of this, and you go to attack attributes and abilities, go to add, and edit that, and you paste this information in and put, say, mace. And it should, if you click on that, or, oh, sorry, Great Club, not mace. This is the ogre. So we put Great Club, the right one, and you see that it rolled that attack in chat. Well, if you put show as a token action on this character sheet, and you click on the ogre, now you don't have to have the character sheet up. Its Great Club attack is already there, and it rolls it, and you can do the damage just fine. You don't have to worry about having the character sheet up or anything. All you got to do is, have this be there. If you don't want it as a token action, but you want your player that's maybe helming that guy, he wants to put it down in the macro bar down below, like we did down here, you can do that too. And you just click on the guy, you know, and you can have it roll. You don't even actually have to have it roll, click on the guy. You can have it roll just by clicking on that bar, or that button. So at this point, you have your attacks. And you can do that with every attack that the ogre has on his sheet. You can do, all you have to do is click on the attack from the sheet once, click the up arrow, copy all of this random, what looks like random text, go to attributes and abilities, add another one. This one is going to paste it in there. This one is going to be javelin and melee. So again, you can put it as a token action or in the macro bar. You can close out your character sheet, and you have the javelin option there. So makes a lot of difference if you want to spend the time that it takes to go through and do that for your players. You can most certainly do that, and it will make their life easier. I forgot I still had it open. And then if they don't want it in the macro bar or on the token action, all you gotta do is take those check marks off and they are gone. So it makes life a lot easier because you have their armor class, you have their hit points already in the token. If you do the saves, for them to have saves, and you have, if you have the attributes and abilities set up, you have whether they are whatever they are using for their action. The only difference is that you cannot roll at advantage or disadvantage or public or to the GM anywhere other than the character sheets. So if you wanted those options, you needed to go to the character sheet and get it from there. Alright. But once you click on, like if you click on disadvantage and you have it already clicked on the character sheet to roll disadvantage, and you click on this, it will automatically roll it at disadvantage. So that works so that if, say, you've got like a lot of wolves or kobolds or stuff that get pack tactics, you can just set the character sheet to advantage and you can just go for it, because then it will always roll advantage. And just in case it didn't have advantage, the first number that you roll is always the first roll. So if you rolled them separately, it would be a 7 on the first roll and a 23 on the second. So even if it does or doesn't hit, you can, by rolling the 2, you know which one you could choose. If you didn't want to worry about advantage, disadvantage, or whatever, you can leave the them to always roll advantage, which will mean that it will always roll 2 numbers. However, it will not distinguish as to which one it is supposed to be. I like toggle just because it's easier for me to use. I just, if I'm rolling off the sheet, I'll either do advantage or disadvantage, whatever. Okay. And, let's see here. I'm trying to think what else. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so say you have a spellcaster that wants to do a spell, and you don't know, just looking at the map, if the person is in range or not. So say my little cleric-y dude guy over here wants to cast a spell at yellow, but he isn't quite sure if yellow is within his range or not. Okay, so we need to go over a few little basic things. There's a couple of different ways to find out if he's in range or not. And the first thing is to use the ruler tool. This tool right underneath the magnifying glass is the ruler. I use it snap to center because your token is within a 5-foot square, but it's still use it from the middle because you're coming from you. You can do it from the center or corner if you really want, or no snapping at all. If you choose to leave it as it is, it will show your measurement to others. If it is not your turn and you're trying to figure out how far, away that guy is, you can click hide from others, but realize that that means your DM can still see it. But as a DM, it works really well for measuring out places while your players are taking their turns. Okay, so if you click from one point to another, it will measure how far away those, the end of your arrow is. So that will allow. Don't worry. Yeah, it's one of those things that I'd rather you measure prior to your turn and do that while somebody else is going than sit there on your turn and have to figure it all out. I don't usually worry about it. But keep in mind, the color of your ruler is whatever color is next to your name down at the bottom. So if there's 2 players with the same color, make sure you change up your color. You're never going to have, this many players at one time, so make sure you have a distinctly different color. Now, as you're measuring, say you're trying to figure out how to get, say you're trying to get over here, and you're trying to measure it out, but you don't want to go right next to this ogre guy for him to get an attack of opportunity. Well, that means you need to probably turn and go right down the middle so you don't get an attack of opportunity from either of these 2 guys, right? Well, if you right-click while you're still going with this, it gives you a point to turn, and it also measures out how far you have gone. So this will, give you the measurements to be, okay, I've gone 25 feet there. If I go, to here, I'm at 30 feet. Okay, that's as far as I can go right now. But if I use my action, I can dash and get over here to 60 feet. So that's one way to, just measure out. If you have a spell that is maybe a 20-foot box, you can, measure out your 20-foot box to see how many people you can get within range. All good things. The exception to that, though, is if you are moving and you pick up your character to drag it, and you right-click, you will see a yellow arrow line. This one is a little bit different because it is only visible when you are moving on your turn, if you are moving the token, and this one is not visible to anybody until you let go. But as soon as you let go, it will put your character wherever your final arrow, took you. But it also shows your character move along the yellow line. This is extremely important if you are moving through here, just this exact scenario, because it allows your DM to see the line through which you moved. If I let go, I don't see it because that's just, it's me that's doing this. But as a DM, if the character moved through here, I would know that he went through and did not provoke any opportunity attacks because you found the one little loophole right through the middle. The other way to do things is using spell templates. Depending on the spell, that can be super helpful for your characters. I personally purchased this pack on Roll20 that it's the templates and assets for every D&D 5e spell. It's not quite all of them, but it is about 90% of them. Because they don't have some of the ones for outside of the player's handbook. But it will still be they are so pretty. Oh my god, they're so pretty. They are awesome, and I love that they went through and thought about this enough. Let me actually show you, because let's get a blank piece of paper here. Let's get some dark gray color, and let's get everybody over here. They are so pretty. So when you're bringing in your spell templates from your art section, they will automatically come at just a single 5-foot square. Oh yeah. That is why these specifically say 3x8. This scorcher is three squares wide and 8 squares long. So that is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, you know that is the spell template for that spell. And because it has the little thing, you are able to go ahead and rotate it as necessary. If you are rotating it and say you need it to be just not locked into a set of squares, like if you try to set it like this, it's gonna try to lock it into a set of squares. If you click Alt and hold it while you let go, you can actually set it to be whatever angle you need it to be. Just, if instead of it being in the square, if it's just off a little bit, if you hold Alt, it will adjust that for you. Otherwise, if you let go, it's going to automatically snap it back to grid. Yeah, these are gorgeous. I really love these. They're just really cool. Some of them are extremely faint in their amazing awesomeness, but when you bring them to their full glory, I should say, and you see, this one is called Lightning, is awesome. It has these little bitty lightning bolts all the way around, and it's just really cool. My favorite one, and it's actually really funny because the spell is not that great unless you're going against some little bitty guys that don't have a whole lot of hit points. But the template's really freaking cool. And that is Sleep. I really like this one. So you can bring these in to be for your characters, but so let's use your Dragonborn Barbarian as an example. So what color is your Dragonborn? What kind of weapon do they have? Copper. Copper is fire, is it not? Oh, acid. That's right, acid. Okay, so acid for your Dragonborn is that a line or a cone? It's a line. Okay, so you can grab this acid stream right here, and I think it is a 5-foot cone or 5-foot line, you know, so far along, you can do this, and you see that anyone within that line, oh, there you go. So yeah, you can make it be the 30 feet. And you know that if you bring in, let's grab us a Dragonborn, and you put your Dragonborn is right there, and he opens his mouth, and actually, right, it's up to the DM whether he does it here or here. I would say you're right there, and you go far forward, and you have this line of acid that comes out from you. It's really cool, yeah. If you have, so there's the spell Dragon's Breath that gives you cones. This one is one that you know, like wizards and stuff can cast for you. You see that this one is a 5x5 square. And same thing. It gives you that, you know, if they are within the inside of this spell, they will be hit by it. It is very cool. So one of the things that I did once I got these tokens was I spent a little bit of time and I made character sheets for each single one of these spells, because that allowed me to save this token to the size that it needed to be. Because even though I've, you know, stretched this one out and made it a 5x5, if I drag the same thing out again, it's still going to put it as a 1x1. I don't want to have to spend, you know, every, you know, combat or whatever figuring out exactly how big this thing needs to be for your character. But if you know that this is something you're going to be casting because that's your breath weapon as a copper dragonborn, it's probably something that I'm going to want to save and have it be usable by you every game. So what I do is I go through and I make a new character and say, we'll name it Dragons, you know, we could put Copper Dragon's Breath weapon. And we're gonna, you know, save that, right? Well, now that we have Copper Dragon's Breath weapon, we click on this spell template, and the spell template is now a token. We're gonna make sure it's the right length, which we can do by going and measuring it. So this is currently 50. It needs to be 30, so we'll shrink it down a little bit. Alright, but also we can go back and look here. It says it's supposed to be a 3x8. So let's see here. Let's see if that is the right number for this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's see. It is in fact 30 feet. Yep. Alright, well that works. So we know that this is going to be the size that we need it to be. So we go bring up the token settings. We're going to go to Copper Dragon's Breath Weapon. It doesn't need a name. It doesn't have any attributes or abilities. It's just what it is. So we put save, and we go to our character sheet, and we have selected token, and we have that little emblem. Now, what if you want to be able to see it on there as well? You just drag it onto the avatar, and now that character sheet is currently on our in our journal. Okay, so as a DM, you can, you know, leave it just like that, and you can add it. You can be able to use it. What if you want to let your character use it? So all you'd have to do is put it in. You can either put it in an individual's journal, or you can put it in all players' journals, and then you can set it to be edited and controlled by either an individual or all the players. Most of the time, I have it set to all players, just so that I don't have to worry about if somebody gets that spell or needs a 3x8 line of something. They can just grab that token and use it. And then click Save Changes. And now this weapon is usable for, or this token is usable for whomever. So now when I bring this on, by setting this to represent that character, whenever I bring this on, it is going to be the same size as we stretched it out, and this will be able to be used by whomever has permission to use it. If I hadn't set this to be this way, it wouldn't. I would have to go and put controlled by whomever. I don't want to have to do that. I'd rather it just be easier by having that done this way. Now, one exception, and kind of makes it easier on you. One of the things that Roll20 has a problem figuring out is I have it set so that it keeps track of the spells, the spell slots. Well, when you cast a spell such as hold on, let me go grab one. Spiritual Weapon, which these are gorgeous too, oh my god. When you cast Spiritual Weapon the very first time, it takes your spell slot. Well, after that, it continues to do damage even though you're not taking any more spell slots. Well, the only way for you to get damage is to click on the spell and cast it again. Except those takes your spell slots off of, keeping track for Roll20. So what I have done is I've done just like we did with the Copper Dragons. I've made it a character, and we're going to put Spiritual Weapon. And we'll say Hammer. Okay. So then I bring in the emblem of the hammer to there. We're going to set it so that it will be controlled by all of the players. And we click Save. Okay. So we now go just like we did before. And we click this and set it to Spiritual Weapon Hammer. And click Save. Okay. So everything is just like it was for the other one. We click, make sure selecting it, and select the token. Okay, so we're good, right? Well, what if you wanted to figure out a way to cast the Spiritual Weapon spell without taking a spell slot off of your other character sheet? It's easy. You go in and you find in your compendium the spell for Spiritual Weapon, and you add it to your Spiritual Weapons character sheet. So that means that they have the spell Spiritual Weapon. Now, Spiritual Weapon is a Wisdom saving throw, or well, a wisdom spell. And what you do is you figure out whoever is casting it goes and puts their spell or their wisdom score into the character sheet for Spiritual Weapon. So say our cleric has a 15 in wisdom. That means that Spiritual Weapon will have an attack of 4 and a +2 to force. If their proficiency is higher, you can put, say they're level 10. That will change their proficiency bonus. So you just put whatever level the character is and their wisdom, and it will affect the spell. Okay? So now, instead of rolling from the character sheet of the player, we're rolling from the character sheet of the spiritual weapon. Oh, that was a good roll. Look at that. So now, instead of taking a spell slot from one of your player's spells, it takes a spell slot from this character sheet, which, don't worry about how many spell slots are available, because spiritual weapon can hit as many times before it runs out. This also works well because it has the information for the spiritual weapon. So your player can see all of that information, and they can just leave it open to this page and have all of that information available. If you want to make it extremely easy on your character so that they don't even have to worry about opening the character sheet for this weapon, you can do the attributes and abilities item and make a new ability, which is, we'll put spiritual weapon, and it will be able to roll as a token action if you would like. So if you set that up so that it is a token action, whenever you bring this item onto the board, it will automatically have spiritual weapon be an option for that token. And when you look at other tokens, it won't be there, but on this one, it will have spiritual weapon. So that's a way to do that without using a player's spell slots. So if we delete this, and we now bring this spiritual weapon onto the board, you see that it is ready to go. You just have to remember that the player has to roll from their character sheet the first time. They have to cast the spell from their character sheet the very first time, and then anytime after that, the spell comes from the actual weapon. That was super duper helpful. When I had clerics and stuff have multiple spiritual weapons up. So it made it just a lot easier on me as well as on them, because we didn't have to worry about the spell slots, because as soon as you click on the word spiritual weapon, it brings up what level it's at, and it just takes them off of the character sheet of the actual weapon. So, makes a lot of difference. Okay, let's see here. Okay, and like I said, the art pack that I got for this is called let's see, remember it. It is templates and assets for every 5e spell. It was super awesome. I really truly love these spells. They're gorgeous. Fairy Fire is beautiful. It's just, they've got personality is what it amounts to. Guardian of Faith, Healing Spirit, Gusts of Wind. Ice Storm has, its mage hands are gorgeous. The Earthen Grasp. There's just, they're gorgeous. The fire segment for a firewall. So that you can just, these specifically are like a 1x3. So then you can adjust, you know, them to be whatever angles you need, or you can leave them as 1x1s and just put out more of them. Yeah, so there's just, they're gorgeous. Like, I mean, Whirlwind is, you know, it's really pretty. Web, yeah, Zone of Truth, Wrath of Nature, you know, they're gorgeous. Wall of Thorns segment, I mean, they're cool. Okay. I have, so each book that you get may come with art as well. So there is these options. I also, depending on your players and stuff, I have a hero token pack that is one I got when I very first started, and if it wasn't taking forever to load, I would show you. There we go. It is a non-gender, non-race specific package of token markers. They each come in multiple colors, and tend to come with 2 variants per class. So like this one, the barbarian, and 2 sizes. Barbarian has a battle axe for this one and a maul for that one. It comes in 2 sizes because it comes in the medium creature and the small creature options. So we've got, most of the classes are medium, and then you've got your small classes such as like halflings, gnomes, goblins, kobolds, stuff like that. And it is for each of the different classes, and they're very class specific, but not race or gender specific. And they're just really cool. I love using these. I specifically use these for my kids' tables because it doesn't matter what gender they are or what race they are. It matters if they remember what type of character they're playing. So that's, you know, super important, because my people keep forgetting what they are and want to try to, they all want to try to be rogues when they're not rogues. But this just made it easier for me to be able to, you know, have not the weird random character tokens that don't necessarily represent exactly what you have planned for your character, but this works out to also not be some of the really bad artwork. Now, though, I use them more for my NPCs. These don't matter. They are not necessarily the ones they're gonna fight. These are just like filler people, so like random people at a tavern, or random people walking along the street that, you know, in this town, or whatever it needs to be. It's kind of a giveaway to some of my players that play a lot with me, that if I use these tokens, they are generic NPCs. Yeah, exactly. Because there's only so many times you can put the same, like, person's face. Okay. Yeah, there's only so many times you can put the same dwarf's token when you need, like, 17 dwarfs. So, they're not all related and don't all look the same. Much to contrary to popular belief. Okay. So, let's see here. Do you have any questions for me, Sass? Because if so, just let me know. Okay. One of the hardest things that I have, and I haven't quite figured it out into to making it a rollable table, but apparently good, I'm glad. I'm really glad that this is getting you more excited. Honestly, the biggest thing is just to have fun. And go along and be along for the ride, because as prepared as you think you are, they will break your mod. Just be aware of this and you will be fine. The very first one of the very first games that I ran, I was running games for my local game store, and I sat down at this. We were running. That was just when Waterdeep Dragon Heist came out, and they released some modules that went with it. So I was the DM that was going to run the modules every other Saturday when as they were coming out. And I went to run the first one, and this I had a group of players that one of that were friends. I didn't know them real well at that time, but one of them I did know a little bit, not as much as I know him now, but still. And we're sitting at this table, and I'm running this module, and they're investigating this room with there is a coffin. Like, they go backstage at this performance thing, and there's this coffin back there. And I'm like, you see this coffin, and it's closed, whatever. And one of the players says, I open it and get in. And I just stopped. And I looked at my friend, and I'm like, what do I do? Because that was not an option in the module for what to do. Because in the module, it specifically says that this coffin is used as a teleportation device. Anything that is put into it gets teleported to this certain person. So I'm like, well, shit. Okay, now what? So I'm looking at my friend, and he's like, I don't know. He hadn't read the module yet. He had no idea. I was like, okay, give me a minute. And I, sat there and I thought about it, and I'm like, okay. So you get in the coffin, and you are teleported, and the coffin opens, and you are staring at the face of this guy, and he says, you are not what I want, and closes the lid on you, and you're teleported back to the other coffin. I'm like, very easily could have had a player death right there, and it would have been totally and completely acceptable for them to have been killed because they got into this coffin that was a teleportation device that teleported you to obviously someone that was one of the big bads. Or at the very least someone that was not so friendly. But thankfully, I figured it out, and we went on, and it was a fine, rest of the session, but it threw me, and I was like, I don't know. So, yeah. Down to the city. Sorry. Oh, that works. That works. That's pretty awesome, actually. One of the macros that I have is for me to remember to give out DM inspiration. Because I've been really bad about doing that online. For some of the super creative things, but that would have been super awesome. Yeah. So you invented parachutes, huh? I hope the DM said canon on that one, because you clearly invented parachutes. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, so every once in a while my players will totally break the situation by finding a different way to go about than I either had planned for or the person who writes the modules had planned for or whatever. So as long as you realize that it's very much the nice. Um, there's a book that I loved as a kid, and it totally fits in to the role of DMing. As long as you realize that your players are very much the mouse in the Give a Mouse a Cookie books, you'll be fine. Because every time you give a mouse a cookie, he asks for a glass of milk. So every time you give your player a little bit of wiggle room, they're going to wiggle right on out of that and figure out something else. So, which is exactly what makes D&D awesome. Because, like I said, the DM is just along for the ride. We are there to just have fun and see what kind of shenanigans our players will get into. And trust me when I say they get into them. Today is my Chaos Monkey table day. I've got a game tonight that I run. It's not streamed, it's just a regular game, but they are currently in the Tyranny of Dragons storyline. So Tyranny of Dragons is the republication of the Hoard of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat books. And they just finished the Hoard of the Dragon Queen saga part last week, and they are starting the Rise of Tiamat book today. And these players, they are very funny. They are very much my Chaos Monkeys, though. They just have a good time, and they actually, if the druid summons animals, have more animals than party members, no matter how many animals she summons. It's really funny. So we have a good time. It's one of my favorite days of the week. But yeah, I very much look forward to my Friday night games because they are just awesome. So, exactly, it is all, exactly what it's all about. Okay, well, so is there any questions about anything that you have thought about or that you have in mind, or let's see here. Oh, one of the other things, so we went over the ruler aspect. So the D20 that is here is your advanced dice roller. It allows you to roll either 1 to up to 5 of them. It is a lot of info to take in all at once, and I am sorry. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me after the fact. Or go back and watch it. I'm going to be, this will be up for a while. So these are options. You can also click on it and it will give you a advanced dice roller, which means that you can set the number of dice to roll plus any bonuses, and then you just have to click roll and it will roll it for you. It also will show you the last 10 rolls that you rolled from the dice roller. Thank you, I appreciate that. So that gives you the option to be able to do multiple, if you find yourself rolling the same thing, that's an easy way to do it. If you find that you are rolling a certain number a lot, and you find that perhaps you might want to make a macro out of it, you can do that. And let's put, say, you find yourself rolling a D100 a lot. we're going to use Mother Jedi as an example because she has her players roll D100s a lot on anytime they use or get a critical success or critical failure, because she uses a crit chart. So we can, you know, do a roll a D100, show it as a token action, and anytime they click on their token, that D100 option is there, ready to go. So that makes it super easy. Like I said before, I'm gonna work on a rollable table for that being an option as well. This one happens to be a wild magic effect table. So this is the D100 option as well. And you can set it to be a option to roll as well. For macro, you just have to click the effect and go, you know, an up, and wild magic effect table, and we can do that as well as a token action. And so this one, you know, every time they cast a wild magic thing, you can have them click on that wild magic effect table, and it will automatically roll whatever the effect roll on that table. So that is something that is an option, and I will hopefully be doing for Mother Jedi, or at the very least go through and figure out and show her how to do that herself. It's pretty awesome. That is super helpful if you have like a wild magic sorcerer, to be able to put this up there and have it be the rollable table. Now, if you put in front of this, let's see, it's / whisper. Let's see if this works. No. Okay. Oh, that's because it's the other way. It's whisper that. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay. There is a way to do it as a whisper roll. I'm just trying to remember what it was. But you can set it to be a whisper roll as well. Alright. But yeah, exactly. It's super easy. And that will help to be able to set it up once, and because of the transmogrifier, no matter what tables or no matter what games you run, that is an option to be able to carry over to the other characters. So that is totally an option for something that you can do. Okay. Let's see. So say you bring your characters onto a map and they are zoomed in, but they're zoomed in way over here in the corner. You have no idea where they are. They have no idea where you are. All you have to do to be able to center the map on a specific location is to hold shift and just do like a ping, and it will center the map on whatever your ping spot was. And it will bring all of your players to that one spot. So that is kind of cool. Let's see. I think that might be all the things that were on my list of things to show you guys. I think it might be. Well, alright. Huh. Okay. So, well, if there is no other questions, I think that might be a good place to go ahead and stop the stream for this point. Like I said, if there's any questions that you have, please feel free to message me, either through the Twitch channel, or even if you want to join, if you feel like you might want to play a game. I run a Discord channel of paid games, so if you are interested, perhaps you want to join us over there, you can find me on Discord under DMS Adventurers Tavern. And there's a bunch of, so there's the information. You can find me on Twitch, of course, here at DM Susan, Twitter DM Susan Q, Discord, Facebook, and YouTube at DMS Adventurers Tavern. But until next time, I believe we might be going, I'll have to figure out what exactly we're going to go over next time, but we may end up just playing some more Spyro, actually. But don't forget to join us tomorrow, this Saturday at 6 p.m. for our Tomb of Annihilation stream. It will be definitely a crazy adventure, as our characters have made it to Cholt, and they will be doing some dinosaur racing tomorrow. So it should be really cool. Come and hang out and see what kind of shenanigans our characters can get up to at the dinosaur races before they head into the jungle with their new jungle scout. So, thank you for coming by, Sass. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful day. We are going to go ahead and, let's see here. We're going to raid somebody here. I'm not sure. Thank you. Like I said, I have a game to go to run tonight, so I'm going to take a little bit of time. I've got about 2 hours before I have to run that, so I'm going to go take some time for that. Alright, and we are going to be raiding Jables, as he is one of the people that got me into following this amazing, awesome group of people, and has brought a lot of joy. So he is playing Phasmophobia, so we're going to take you guys over there, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. So thank you guys, enjoy Jable's stream, and have a wonderful day.